ride.
G'day race fans, it's Adrian here and welcome back to Just a Ride. Howdy people, how are we? Welcome back to what is quickly becoming my favourite part of any build, and that's the motor reassembly. Obviously because I have done this with my SX 250, it's a pretty familiar engine to me, so I do find myself moving through it more confidently than, let's say, I did with the last build that I did, the little CB125. A joys thing. I don't think I've said this series. For those of you who are new and didn't watch the CB125, I did say at the start and many times through it, and I haven't said it this series, I think, and that is, this is not a how-to in any way, shape or form. This is how I do it. This is just me sharing what I do in my garage, you know, like this is not me. Yeah, you know, there's enough of them on YouTube, you know, the punters that start a sentence with, I've never done this before, but this is how you do it. I'm not that egotistical yet. I bumble through shit, I trip over stuff, and that's a part of the journey, and that's what I'm happy to share. Yeah, so this is the engine reassembly. I love it so much. It's like eating dessert, you know. You don't want to rush it, so you stretch it out as much as you can. So you'll see over the course of this, took a couple of days. Yeah, you'll see that. Fair to say, the continuity officer has been fired. So let the reassembly commence. Obviously, I did the stay there. Obviously I did the bearings. I popped the bearings in the case, you know, prior to this in the last episode, and I was ready to rip in. So let's do that, shall we? Head job. You asking or giving? Another shameless Bill Hicks quote. Okay, let's get the power valves. So this is the secret to the two-stroke, guys. This is the exhaust port of the head, okay? So obviously the exhaust pipe, expansion chamber, it comes off of that. Within that. So that's just normal running, the position of that I'm talking about here, okay? That is just normal running, low RPMs, two-stroke speed. Once the RPMs increase to a specific region, this is actuated into the open position. So that's just normal riding, and that's a religious moment. Trust me. Hey? The misconception of the power band of the two-stroke, for years before I sort of had my head around how engines worked, I always thought power band was just extra fuel that was getting squirted into the head. It's not at all. It's extra exhausting. You know, the quicker we can get it out, the quicker we can get those gases out, the quicker it goes. Not sure if you can make this out, guys, but just there, can't really make it out, can you? There's a tiny dot that denotes the positioning of teeth. And you can you make it out? I don't know. There's a little dot there in the corresponding position. So where's my dot? The dot's there. That's kind of what I'm running towards. A little bit of Just a Ride lube. Nice. Okay. Some rubber O-rings. So that's a passage and a port for coolant to travel through. That's what those O-rings are doing. Alright, let's get these guys in. Cinch that up for now. Oops, that's fallen out. Put that in later. Okay. So I need now that little retainer with some Loctite. And from experience, I have been made aware when you're putting Loctite on a bolt, just let it drip on. You don't actually want to touch the tip of that onto the metal, because that's kind of the catalyst that begins the drying of the glue. So if you start rubbing the tip of your thread lock up against metal and stuff, it dries up in the tip and your bottle doesn't work anymore. Yeah, I've got my little dots are lined up. This is good. That goes there. That goes over the top of that. Where is the... it's that one. Yeah, the dots seem to be locating themselves. Okay, this is the outer right side cover, which houses the water pump. Say it with me, water pump. And also, you just gotta love motorcycle engineering, right? This is that centrifugal wheel that I was talking about on strip down. So this is running off of the main crank, you know, so the more that spins, the more this spins, and the more it spins, the centrifugal nature of it pulls that out, which actuates the arm, which then actuates the exhaust ports. But motorcycle engineering being beautiful and succinct, this is the power valve actuator, but on the other side of it is the water pump for the coolant throughout the entire engine. Just salvaging little bits off other things to make do, just so smart. I'm sure if this were a car, this would be one incredibly technical piece of equipment, and then the water pump would be its own separate technical part of equipment. As the motorcycles, they bring them together. Yes? Before I do that, I'm going to ensure that my shit don't leak, right? So I'm just going to get a nice little bead of this. Hang on, once I get... here it comes. I'm going to get a nice little bead of this. And the idea is that you really only use this on one side of the two sides that are going to marry up. The thought process being that the gasket, you know, only sticks to one side, and you can, you know, can take this off at a later date, and the gasket will be stuck to that, not that, or stuck to that and stuck to that. So I just got to get a little ring around here, and then I'm going to, as has been the advice that I was given by Andrew at Full Noise, was to dab this on, not to smear it. As a technique, people. And you take one of these and you go, because if you were just to start rubbing it back and forth, you can potentially miss spots, you know. And this, yeah, I know there's a bit of ugliness and there's overflow and spill right now, but once it's all on, like, you can get in there with a blade or a rag and clean up that overflow. I'd much rather have overflow now than not do this and pay the consequences, you know? Dabby dab dab. Alright, the gasket's gonna shit. Shapes confuse me. Alright. Okay, bloody GoPro battery went flat on me. So I finished this. This is, yeah, like I said, power valve, actuator, water pump on the other side, all nice new button head fastenings. This is actually, so that spring there. That spring. That is the adjustment that I was speaking of in the last episode, where you can sort of tame the engine down, or you can make the engine, you know, crazy aggressive. Yeah, just by taking pressure on or off of that spring. So that's something that I will be doing once it's up and running, you know, and obviously it's sitting there on the left-hand side, just a flat blade screwdriver. Covered. Yeah, boy. It's coming along, bit by bit. Oh, yeah, have I even spoken about the vapor blasting that Frank has done to me again? Like, just, isn't that just, can you recall how bad that was? I believe I was picking at this bit down here on the strip down, talking about how embarrassing it was. I ain't embarrassed about that. I want to walk down the street and show strangers that. Hey? I'm just going to take these dust caps off on this internal side of these cases. I've just double checked the photos that I took when I stripped it down, and they clearly didn't have it. It makes sense that it's an oil bath. Why would you deprive a bearing with this seal on it in not living in a bath of oil? So there we go. The other case is the same. I'll pop a few off the inside of that as well. Okie dokie. Huh? No more bets. Okay, so I'm actually going to start with something that I don't normally start with, but just changing it up. Oh, hello. ProX have come to the party. I'll say your name now. This was the business that I wasn't prepared to share whom they were, but that's a pretty expensive sticker, but I'm happy with it. I'm going to put the dust seals in first. In the past, I've not done this. I've put the shaft through, and then you try and put a dust seal in place with a shaft that's already on it. It can be a bit troublesome. So it was just a conversation I had in passing with Andrew from Full Noise, and he didn't outly say it, but what I gathered from what he was saying was, this is kosher. Seals on first. It feels nice. And it looks nice. So it must be nice. Alright, I'm happy there. Alright, seals on. Now let's start throwing some shafts down it. Here it comes. So I put them up horizontally and kind of fed it through, and it's worked. And I ain't gonna take it out to do it again just for you guys. So believe me, it worked. Alright, still got a couple here to go back on. Doesn't seem right. What's this? A bit right there. Alright. Shift drum with top hat washer. That was the bottom one. Washer's in there. Right, little bugger to get there.
The next one was in that slot. Okay. Now the drum. But then it's all about the shifter located tabs with their top hat washers marrying into the slots around here, which are the what changes your gearing. Let's pick that up. Ooh. Okay. Now the little guys that hold them in place. So this is just two-stroke engine oil that I'm using just to do a bit of pre-lubing with here. Just don't want any dry metal running against dry metal, if only just but for a moment before oil, you know, does its job with the oil pump and whatnot. Oh, yeah, straight in. Yep. Hear that note change on the last maybe 3 or 4? That cotton rod sitting even. Oh yeah, that's a new bearing. Get some of that in ya. Okay. So now I'm going to clean this gasket area because I'm going to apply some JB Weld sealant in and around the gasket area, much like the water pump thingy that I did earlier. Sorry, it's a water pump. So okay, a lovely dabbed on surface area there, just to maximise, you know, sort of surface tension. You know, you, like I said before, don't smear, dab. Got a couple of dowels here. Let's just gently persuade that, shall we? He's at his home. And so was he. As you can see here, there's obviously pieces that will have to be cut to form a passage once the other side case is on, which is about to happen. And when it does, I can get this back onto my my poorly made stand. It really is a token gesture, isn't it? Because it's really not going anywhere I kind of want it to go. Okay. Yep. That's shifting. Double check the top hat washers are in place. Okay. I'm not a religious man, but yes, I'm on my knees right now. Praying to God, praying to a God or some God that this works well. Thank you, 4 pound, 8 ounce baby Jesus. immediately it's heavy. Okay. We are good for side bolts now. Jobs are good. Those two cases are now held together by, as you can see, the new fastenings that I've got on there, which all got Loctited. Do you know Loctite is a brand name for the actual product? You know, like a Xerox machine, you know, it's a photocopier. Xerox make it. Same with Loctite. Anyway, there'll be a test later. I can now get this on my U-Butte stand. Let's do that. Bit of a bugger this one. You've kind of got to compress a spring and drive the bolt home at the same time. Okay. This little guy, so I have to pull that out the way to get this guy in. That's going to be easy, isn't it? Not. That was sarcasm, guys. Let me just see if I can get that in to hold that back. That's the right size, yes. That's the right orientation, yes. Bit of a fiddle around with the spring, just having to sort of hold that spring back and tighten it and then let the spring back in its right position. But I got there, and the shift drum is on, so I'll just slide this through. If you can remember, I actually have to attach a glove to this before this goes into the engine case. Actually, before I do, what am I doing? Just throw it in there dry, like a bloody barbarian. There's another bearing, the same on the other side. I'll just give that a bit of loving. This was one of the seals that I did at the as a, you know, like a first process, and it was beneficial. I'll do that again. I think I made the right call there, doing those seals first. Alright, there's the shaft that the gear shift lever attaches to. That was all that sorcery, right? Okay, I have a bearing retainer. Okay, so after this it will be idle gear, kickstarter, main drive, and then that clutch basket assembly. Nice and tight. Tight lines. Still double check that one. That's good as well. We'll just double check. Will work. From what I know, that's correct. Alright, another bag done. Alright, main drive. I've got my little woodruff key, something like that, I think it's called. There's a little. So incredibly important. A spacer here. That's just going to slide over that woodruff key and level it out. There we go. Nice, nice, nice. Then I got my main drive. Zip tied together. There's my little corresponding woodruff key hole. So this was the guy, if you can remember, I had to use the pulley to get off. But the beautiful thing is putting them on. Nut tension does the job. I need some of that. I'm gonna try and, probably should have done this before. And reverse thread, just to keep you on your toes, hey? I've worked with a couple of Japanese bikes now, and I've not experienced this opposite thread on the right hand side of the crank. It's only this Euro stuff. That be on. That be on. Ooh, yeah. Main drive, I might just replace that rag. Don't want any nasties falling in there, do I? Okay, let's get the idle drive on in the middle there. Circlip. Oh, wasn't first crack. Just a little helping. Lovely. Okay. Idle drive on. Now the Kickstarter. Give that a bit of, oh yeah, get in there. Just fill that goop up. There we go. So I've got a little pin there. That's just going to rest on the back of a little actuating ratchet arm there. Oh, that went in. So now I have to, and I've got to get this 8mm bolt. It's all about organisation, mate. 8mm. Back to standard. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. Alright, I'm gonna have to. You can give me a bit of the side angle. Give me a bit of the old side eye. Just for those times when you're not really sure if you are true and, you know, good to go with the thread. If I were to get my Milwaukee then and just gone blast and it wasn't true, it would have been terrible. I would have been in there with a helicoil set fixing my mistake. Cool. And just cinch that up. Yep, that's good. Okay. Clutch basket. Yes. Been all wrapped up since I dismantled. Let's start from the back, shall we? Let's start with some lube and then we'll start from the back. Oh, that's the goodness right there. Sweet as a nut. Okay, so Kickstarter, idle drive, clutch, main. So it makes sense, right? I want to start sim motorcycle. You make it come alive from here and it goes tick, 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 makes the fire. They're beautiful, aren't they? These internal combustion engines of the motorcycling ilk. Yep. Looks good to me. Spacer. Inner. With incredibly low tolerances on those spines. There we go. Got it. Rightio. Fibre. Just that, the last tab that I managed to get away without having to bend this one down when I took it apart. What did I use last time? Flat blade screwdriver. Had a bit of success with that, didn't I? There we go. I do own a clutch holding, how's your father? It's like a big pair of pliers. It's just made to hold all this. Oh, probably should have done the big nut first, right? Like I said, it's not a how-to, it's a how I do it. Little squirt through there. You can just feel it vacuum into the that little cup, that little pressure plate. There we go. Let's get these on. One of those, two there, one there. Okay.
Hang on, look at the time. He's not going to get this finished in time. Is this a two-parter?
I wanted to use that as opposed to the Milwaukee once again. Sometimes the power tool can just be a bit too brutal, and that was you want to be pretty delicate with that process. You don't just want to put off and bottom out the bloody bolt on the other side of that clutch basket. It cost a mint. Okay, so he's gonna get that side on, aren't I? Is that all?
So I'm just going to leave you right there. Because it's getting long enough, isn't it? I mean, let's just take a breath and we'll come back next week. Okay? Thanks for watching. Be safe and be happy. Ciao!
Jesus Christ, that's the longest bolts in history. I'm halfway down now. Ooh, my shoe! Oh, getting arm pump. Love it. Fight through the pain. Oh, it's just going numb now. No dexterity. Love it.